The draw at the Porsche Arena produced a matchup that felt almost scripted. Alexandra Eala, the 20-year-old Filipina sensation who has captured the attention of the tennis world, was set to take on Leylah Fernandez, the 23-year-old Canadian standout who proudly carries Filipino heritage through her mother. It marked their first singles encounter on the professional tour, a showdown between two left-handed Filipinas with plenty to prove. For Fernandez, it was an opportunity to remind everyone why she reached the US Open final in 2021, why she climbed as high as world number 13, and why she owns 5 WTA titles. For Eala, it was a chance to prove that her remarkable rise from number 140 to number 29 in only 1 year was no accident and to show she belonged among the sport's elite. Tennis fans everywhere were watching, but nobody could have predicted what followed. The Porsche Tennis Grand Prix draw had created something intriguing. Alexandra Eala, ranked number 46 in the world, would meet Leylah Fernandez, the 23-year-old Canadian Filipina star ranked number 25, in the opening round. It was their first singles battle on tour, a meeting between two left-handed Filipinas determined to make a statement. For Fernandez, it was an opportunity to remind the tennis world why she reached the US Open final in 2021, why she climbed to number 13 in the rankings, and why she collected 5 WTA titles. For Eala, it was another opportunity to demonstrate that her rapid climb from number 140 to number 29 in just 1 year was no fluke and that she deserved a place on the biggest stages against the best competitors in the sport. The stakes could hardly have been greater. The winner would move on to face 5th seed Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8, in the second round. Yet beyond rankings and tournament brackets, this contest was about pride. Two women with Filipino roots, both left-handed and both determined to win. The tennis world was watching closely, and the crowd had already chosen its favorite. Away from competition, there is genuine respect between them. Fernandez has described Eala as fearless and fierce while praising the young Filipina's elegance and intensity on court. She has called Eala incredibly kind, highlighting both her humility and determination. Whenever they meet, they exchange greetings and acknowledge the unique connection they share as two of the few Filipino faces competing on the professional circuit. But once the match begins, friendship disappears. This is competition. Both players were desperate for a victory to launch their claycourt seasons. Fernandez proudly embraces her Filipino heritage. Her mother is Filipina, and her maternal grandparents come from Leyte and Ilocos Norte. She has often spoken about how grateful she is for the support she receives from Filipino fans around the world. "I'm extremely honored that they follow me, that they cheer for me," Fernandez once said. She has also shared her hope of visiting the Philippines someday to experience the culture firsthand. But when she stepped onto the clay at the Porsche Arena that Tuesday, the Filipino fans were not cheering for her. Their support belonged to Alexandra Eala, leaving Fernandez, despite all her talent, in the unusual role of the road favorite. The numbers painted an interesting picture. Fernandez had endured a difficult 2026 season, winning only 4 of her first 13 matches and failing to advance beyond the third round in any of her opening 9 tournaments. She reached the round of 16 at the Charleston Open but lost to Diana Schneider in straight sets. Eala, meanwhile, had won 14 of her 22 matches and carried one of the strongest winning percentages among players inside the top 50. She arrived after reaching the round of 16 at the Linz Open, where she earned her first professional claycourt victory against hometown favorite Julia Grabher. On paper, Fernandez remained the favorite. She possessed greater experience, more titles, and a higher ranking. But Eala carried momentum, and she had something Fernandez lacked, thousands of supporters filling the stands, waving Philippine flags and chanting her name. The Porsche Arena was packed. The atmosphere was electric, and when the two left-handers stepped onto the court, friendship was set aside. Only one player would move on. Only one would emerge victorious in this battle between Filipino stars. The Porsche Arena buzzed with energy. Hours before the opening serve, thousands of Filipino fans had already packed the stands, waving flags and chanting "Laban, Alex," throughout the German venue. They had traveled from Frankfurt, Munich, across Europe, and even from the Philippines itself to witness a special moment, and they would not leave disappointed. When Alexandra Eala and Leylah Fernandez walked onto the clay, the roar from the crowd was overwhelming. Two left-handed Filipinas, each carrying the hopes of millions, stood across the net from one another. The tension was undeniable. The stakes were obvious. The opening games became a test of nerves. Both players held serve through the first 4 games, neither willing to surrender an advantage. Fernandez, relying on her experience and higher ranking, attempted to impose her style. Her powerful left-handed forehand pushed Eala behind the baseline as she looked to control rallies and force mistakes. But Eala remained composed. Her defense, sharpened through years at the Rafa Nadal Academy, seemed impenetrable. Every ball came back. Every rally felt endless. Fernandez began showing signs of frustration as unforced errors started to appear. At 3-3, Eala seized her opportunity. She broke Fernandez's serve with a backhand winner down the line that left the Canadian frozen in place. The crowd exploded. The chants grew louder. Momentum had shifted. Eala held serve in the next game before breaking Fernandez once again to capture the opening set 6-3. The arena erupted. Philippine flags waved throughout the stadium. The chants of Eala, Eala, became so loud that players on nearby courts turned to look. Fernandez, however, refused to disappear quietly. The Canadian star, who had reached a Grand Slam final at only 19 years old, dug deep. Her level improved in the second set as her shots found the lines with greater consistency. She earned an early break and jumped ahead 3-1. Momentum had shifted once more. The crowd, firmly behind the Filipina, held its breath. Eala faced her first major challenge of the match. The pressure that had overwhelmed many young players on this court could have affected her. Instead, she displayed composure beyond her years. She broke back in the 5th game, using flat ground strokes to create angles that seemed impossible on the slower clay. The crowd came alive again. The chants returned. Eala held serve to level the set at 3-3. The next few games became a battle of endurance. Both players held serve, each game becoming a contest of determination. At 5-5, with the set hanging in the balance, Eala elevated her level. She attacked Fernandez's second serve, took control of rallies early, and earned 2 break points. Fernandez erased the first with an ace. On the second, Eala drilled a forehand return that landed on the baseline, leaving the Canadian scrambling. Break point converted. Eala moved ahead 6-5. Serving for the match, Eala displayed the calmness of a seasoned veteran. Her first serve found its targets. Her ground strokes remained sharp. At 40-30, match point, she struck a backhand down the line that Fernandez could only watch fly past. Final score, 6-3, 7-5. 1 hour and 48 minutes of relentless, high-level tennis. Eala dropped her racket, covered her face with her hands, and looked toward the sky. The stadium erupted. Chants of Eala, Eala, echoed throughout the Porsche arena. Thousands of Filipino fans, many fighting back tears, waved their flags in celebration. Strangers embraced. Songs filled the air. History had been written. The statistics reflected a performance of remarkable efficiency. Eala converted 4 of her 10 breakpoint chances while saving 5 of the 7 breakpoints she faced. Her first serve percentage stayed around 65%, and she captured 68% of those points. On her second serve, she was even more effective, winning 55% of the points and neutralizing Fernandez's aggressive returns. She finished the match with 18 winners against 21 unforced errors, an impressive ratio considering the speed and pressure of the contest. Fernandez, meanwhile, struggled to establish consistency. She committed 28 unforced errors, many of them arriving at crucial moments. Her first serve percentage slipped below 60%, and she won only 45% of her second serve points. The Canadian star, who had defeated some of the biggest names in tennis, simply had no solution for Eala's relentless defense and well-timed aggression. The win marked Eala's first victory over a top 30 player on clay and her fourth career triumph over a top 30 opponent overall. It also represented the first time she had advanced beyond the opening round of a clay-court WTA 500 event. As Eala left the court, she stopped near the tunnel entrance and turned back toward the crowd. She lifted her hand, waved to the thousands of supporters who had traveled across Europe to watch her, and mouthed two simple words, "Thank you." The crowd responded with a thunderous roar. They had come to witness history, and Alex Eala had delivered. The victory over Fernandez was far more than a first-round win. It was a defining moment in Eala's career, one that may be remembered as the day she proved she belonged among tennis elite. Eala entered the Stuttgart Open ranked number 46 in the world, down from her career-high ranking of number 29 after the Miami Open. The 390 points she earned from her memorable 2025 semi-final run had expired, and she collected only 120 points from her fourth-round finish. The rankings math was harsh, but Eala's performance in Stuttgart changed the picture. A first-round victory over a top 30 player added valuable points to her total. A deep run in Stuttgart could move her back toward the top 40. A semi-final appearance would place her within striking distance of the top 35. A championship run could launch her to a new career best ranking. Still, rankings are not the only measure of success. The victory over Fernandez is only the opening chapter of Eala's clay-court season. Following Stuttgart, she is scheduled to compete in the Mutua Madrid Open from April 21 to May 3, a WTA 1000 tournament where she already secured direct entry into the main draw. With a 96-player field and Eala ranked number 46, her place in the tournament was automatically guaranteed. Eala is also expected to compete at the Italian Open from May 6 to May 18, another WTA 1000 event, as well as the Parma Ladies Open from May 12 to May 18, a WTA 125 tournament. She will then conclude her primary spring clay campaign at the French Open, Roland Garros, from May 24 through June 27. It was at Roland Garros where she suffered a first-round loss last season. This year, she will be determined to make a deeper run. Next on Eala's path is Jasmine Paolini, the fifth seed and world number 8. The Italian has been outstanding on clay, reaching the quarterfinals of the Charleston Open and the semi-finals of the Billie Jean King Cup qualifiers. She is a dangerous competitor known for powerful ground strokes and an aggressive baseline style. However, Eala has already shown she can challenge elite opposition. She defeated Iga Swiatek, the world number 2, at the 2025 Miami Open. She pushed Coco Gauff to the limit. She has even taken sets from Aryna Sabalenka during practice sessions at the Rafa Nadal Academy. The challenge is significant, but far from impossible. The match is scheduled for Thursday, with the winner advancing to the quarterfinals. The Porsche Arena is expected to be filled once again with Filipino supporters waving flags and raising their voices in support. Eala, fresh off the biggest clay court victory of her career, will be ready for the challenge. Alex Eala stepped onto the clay at the Porsche Arena as the underdog. She walked away as a history maker. The 20-year-old Filipina defeated Leylah Fernandez, the world number 25 and former US Open finalist, in their first singles meeting on tour. The arena, packed with thousands of Filipino fans, erupted in celebration. Chants of "Gila! Eala!" echoed throughout the venue while an entire nation watched in amazement. This was more than a win. It was a statement. It was proof that Eala belongs among the elite. It was confirmation that her rapid rise from number 140 to number 29 in just 1 year was no accident. Now she advances to the second round, where she will face 5th seed Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8. The task is difficult, but after what she accomplished in Stuttgart, nothing feels impossible. The Eala effect is real. It is growing stronger, and it may only be getting started. What are your thoughts on Eala's impressive victory over Fernandez? Can she defeat Paolini in the next round? Share your opinions in the comments below, and subscribe for more WTA news, match analysis, and stories that go beyond the final score.